So when we're doing matrix multiplication, the first thing you have to know is what are the dimensions. Okay, so this was kind of already covered in the notes, but it's rows, columns. So for B, it's really, it's a little bit trickier. 2 rows, 3 columns. So when you're trying to think, can I multiply A times B in this order? I have a 2 by 2 times dot a 2 by 3. Now, because those two numbers line up, I can multiply in that order. However, if I switched it around and did B first, which is the 2 by 3 matrix, and then I multiplied that by A, okay, normally switching the order of multiplication wouldn't matter, but because these two things don't line up, you cannot multiply B times A. And in a minute, I'll show you how to actually multiply. But what this proves is that matrix multiplication is not commutative or commutative. I've heard it pronounced both ways. No. Commutative or commutative would be if you put it both ways and it would work. A times B is the same as B times A. This doesn't work with matrices. Okay, so let's get a little bit deeper with how to multiply. Okay, so I think it works best if we go ahead and line up the two matrices. So this is something you should put on your own notes. Okay, so I'm looking at the top row, and that's actually going to help me figure out all the numbers of the top row. I kind of just show this with yellow. Okay, the top row of the first matrix is going to help me figure out the top row of my answer matrix. Okay, the bottom row is going to help me do the bottom row, and I'll get to that in a moment. All right, let's think about what dimensions my resultant matrix will be. Well, back up here with A, see how the inside kind of lined up? What you're left with, that's what your answer matrix should be, 2 by 3. And so we'll see this work out. Knowing it ahead of time, though, definitely helps a little bit. Okay, so I'm using 1 and 4, and I'm going to actually, so that's a row, and I'm going to look at this column right here. Okay, -1, 7. So I'm going to do the first number 1 times the first number -1. Okay, and then I'm going to add that to the second number 4 times this second number 7. All right, so it's a lot of computations like this, and that gives me the number 27. Okay, that's the first number. All right, I'm going to switch colors here, and I'm going to use purple. So again, I'm still using the top row because I'm still on the top row of my answer. So I'm going to use the 1 and 4 still. This time I'm going to use the 2 and the 0. All right. I don't really want that to be dotted like that. Sorry. I'll use this purple right here. Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to do again the first number 1 times the first number 2. So 1 times 2, and I'm going to add that to the second number 4 and then to the second number 0. That's going to tell me the number here. So that ends up being 2. So I put the 2 right there. All right, let's use kind of an orangey color for this last one. So I'm still in the top row, but now I'm in the third column here, and that's going to tell me what number should go last. Okay, still in the top row. Notice I've not even gotten to the bottom row yet. So again, 1 and 4, 3 and -2. Okay, so the number of columns, the number of rows has to line up for this. It has to go 1 to 1, 1 to 3. So 1 times 3 plus 4 times -2. So that would be 3 minus 8, that would be -5. Okay, so one last time. 1 and 4 gets multiplied to each pair of these numbers, and then in turn, it tells you what each of these numbers should be. All right, now that I'm done with 1 and 4, I'm like totally done with 1 and 4. Okay, I don't need it. Now what I'm using is 8 and -3, and I'm going to go through the process again. Okay, so 8 and -3 times -1 and 7. Now, what I'm hoping is that you won't necessarily need to write this out every time, but if this is the first time you've ever done a problem like this, you need to write it out. 8 times -1, -3 times 7, and you are going to be expected to do this part without a calculator. So that's -8 and -21, so that's -29. Okay, so I would encourage you at this point to pause the video and see if you can finish it on your own. If you're totally lost, then hang tight and I will keep explaining. Okay, so again, 8 and -3. Okay, to get the second spot in this answer, I'm going to go 8, -3 times 2 and 0. So 8 times 2 plus -3 times 0. You're going to start to learn that zeros are very nice, very helpful, make the computations easier. All right, and then the last would be 8 and -3 times 3 and -2. So the first number 8 times the first number 3 plus the -3 times -2, and that would be 24 and 6, so that would make 30. All right, so my answer is this right here, these 6 numbers. I'll go ahead and keep the 2 by 3, but that's my answer, is these 6 numbers.